Once it gets back. You should go home. All right, Sansa.
Good evening, everyone. Can I please call for a motion and a second to reconvene the public meeting? Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence to honor our servicemen and women? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the District Clerk Pro Tem please call the roll?
Mr. Spencer.
Present.
Isn't this working? Ms. DiLorenzo.
Present.
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
Present.
Ms. Mallon.
Present.
Dr. C.
Present.
Ms. Iannatelli. Present. Mr. Kolahifar.
I am in attendance. Thank you for asking.
Ms. Poppy.
Present.
Mr. Hauser.
Present.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the September 24, 2024 meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So today we have a very special young lady in our audience. I'm going to let Ms. Sosa and Ms. Neckin speak to her bravery. If you guys want to just. Just press the button to put the mic on.
I'm sorry. We couldn't be prouder of Emily on her quick thinking. I said just before as I walked in, I said, I don't even know if I would have that quick of thinking. So that driver is so incredibly lucky to have you. We are so proud of you. And thank you for being here tonight. I'm truly honored to be here to recognize you.
So just a little backstory. You can.
Yes, so they were, Deanna Marino, the driver, is here with us tonight. We'd like to thank her for participating in this event as well. And it was an event as they were driving and they stopped to switch drivers. Emily noticed that Miss Marino was in distress. And she just zippity-doo-dah went and did the Heimlich maneuver. When I asked Emily where she learned it, thinking, did you learn that in health class? She's like, no, I watched it on YouTube. So kudos to her. We're so proud of her. And I know Miss Marino is also very proud of her. So on behalf of everyone, I would like to invite Emily and her dad up and Miss Marino.
Congratulations. Great job. And how amazing of you to stay calm under pressure and do that. That's amazing. Great job.
So it's interesting how times have changed. When I was little, I was actually choking on a Lego, and my father grabbed me by my ankles, turned me upside down, and did this with me until the Lego came out. So obviously that had a happy ending, just like this did. But it's wonderful to see how our young people can rise to the occasion. And I'm here almost a year and a half, and we've honored several students over that time, being able to do just what you did, Emily, being able to think quickly on your feet and rise to the occasion. And while you might have learned this off of YouTube, I do know that we've done a lot of great training through phys ed and with security, with both staff and students on all kinds of intervention and first aid. Quick thinking, and look at the difference you made, and we're very proud of you, and great job, congratulations. And right, keeping you cool, calm, and collected, absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Great job. Okay, I will now open the floor for the first open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. You should have received a number card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person shall be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. Number 1. Okay, just kidding. I've read all that. All right, but you know what? We got more students. Student government update. Come on down.
Hello, I'm Michaela. I am one of the Board of Ed reps from the high school. Today I will be talking about the senior class trip coming up. We have a meeting on November 4th at 6:30 where packets will be distributed and all information necessary will be given. Packets are also in Mr. Simmons' office and online able to print.
I just ask you, do you know what time the meeting is?
6:30 p.m.
Sorry if I missed that.
It's okay.
Hi, my name is Thomas. I'm also a student government rep. I'm going to talk to you guys about Safe Halloween. Safe Halloween is going to be held on October 26th, and our informational meeting is going to be held in school on October 10th. The fee to get into Safe Halloween is going to be $5 per child and a non-perishable item. I think that's about it. All right, thank you.
Do you have the times for Safe Halloween?
It starts at 12 and it's going to end at 2.
Thank you so much. Do we have any ORBA, SEPTA, or PTA Council reps? All right. Dr. Centimore, Superintendent's update.
Thank you. I hope everyone had a nice Rosh Hashanah holiday weekend. Happy New Year to our observing families and staff. The high school recently held both a college fair and a financial aid night. Both were very well attended. At the college fair, over 70 schools participated. So thank you to everyone in our counseling center involved with both nights and all the work that went behind it. Over the next few months, there are several colleges and universities that will be visiting for what is referred to as on-site admissions. This is an application process in which students complete applications, meet face-to-face with college admissions representatives, and leave with immediate admissions decisions. How cool is that? Absolutely awesome. Admissions officers schedule days to visit the high school with the goal of admitting any one of our wonderful and eligible seniors to their college or university. Students have the opportunity to meet with admissions officers, ask questions about their school, let the admissions officers get to know them, and also express what they're interested in studying when they go to college. Often, the admissions application fees do get waived. That happens often by participating in an on-site admissions interview. In addition to receiving an admissions decision, eligible students can also leave their meetings with scholarship award amounts. So really a great opportunity. So definitely check the guidance website on the district website. There are some upcoming dates with some schools already. More could always be added. You have November 8th, SUNY Brockport, December 4th, Hofstra University, December 6th, LIU, December 11th, Malloy University, December 12th, NYIT. And the guidance department is also scheduling weekly college visits. So certainly look for that information as well on the website. The website, you know, this has been an initiative of the district. We're trying to enhance it. And so certainly in terms of colleges, please keep an eye and thank you for everyone involved with that. Last week, the Tri-M Honor Society inducted over 30 new members. Very exciting evening. And now both of our middle schools will be holding their Tri-M ceremonies next week. Later in the month, we have other departmental honor society ceremonies and the high school National Honor Society induction ceremony as we continue to recognize our students' outstanding academic achievement. And speaking of which, I just was informed today that Connecticut High School on the AP Scholar Honor Roll for the 2023-24 school year. So congratulations to our students and staff, of course, our supporting families. Ms. Poppy, any little tidbit of information we could add to that? Very exciting news.
Just a little bit about the AP School Honor Roll. Connecticut High School qualified for recognition on this honor roll in 3 different categories. College culture, and this has to do with the number of AP level courses that students have enrolled in and participated in. College credit, that's for student scores on those AP exams. And college optimization, and that was actually our highest scoring indicator, and that has to do with the number of students in the graduating class who turns in high school. So those 3 indicators together combined give us a place on the AP 2024 School Honor Roll.
Hey, all right. Yeah. Again, congratulations. I do know that we're going to be planning presentations for the board, the public in the coming months. Similar to what we did last year, we're going to be doing it with student services, special education, but also elementary and secondary programs as well. So maybe when we have the secondary night, we can incorporate this and there may be some more information and just so people understand, this is really a great accomplishment. We offer tremendous programs and opportunities, certainly in all schools, all levels, but especially at our high school. Thank you.
Dr. C, don't we invite those students? Are we going to be inviting the AP students who are, I guess, the ones that had the 5? Didn't we have that, the scholar? I'm not sure.
I believe that's in June where we do the perfect scores on Regents and APs, right?
We did. So we've moved that recognition.
Not the perfect AP score.
Around. Yes, we've moved the recognition around over the years. So maybe that's part of our discussion as we're planning those curriculum presentations. Traditionally, we've recognized students who've earned 100 on Regents exams and scored a level 5 on an AP exam. If you recall, I think we moved that somewhere mid-year last year, but we can certainly revisit that kind of as we go. This distinction is a whole building distinction, so it's not a specific student. It's the types of opportunities that we allow for our students to participate in and the students who actually choose to accept those types of challenges.
Do we give the students who do have the 5 AP? That's what I'm saying. I think the AP Scholar, we give those, don't we? Give them?
We do, yes. So the College Board will reach out to us and give us our students who have earned particular distinctions on their AP assessments, and we do celebrate them. I believe that we've invited them to board meetings in the past, but we certainly typically have a photo op with Syntax, and we publicize their accomplishments on the website and social media outlets.
Great stuff. Obviously, our district is renowned for not only its academics, but also our focus with health and safety, wellness. United We Stand Drug Free Week is the week of October 21st. And, I appreciate all the efforts that our various committees across the district. It's an important awareness, and again, that's the week of the 21st. You heard from our student government reps in terms of, Halloween is a great time of year, but safety is always a significant focus with Halloween. And it's just wonderful that our high school students are able to serve, as they always do, as wonderful role models and mentors, and with an event like Safe Halloween. Just to reiterate what was reported earlier, Safe Halloween, Saturday, October 26th, from 12 noon to 2. And obviously, that's a big theme for the month of October. Certainly as we advance into this month, there's going to be lots of pumpkin patches and trunk or treats for the elementary schools. So be sure to check the district calendar for, your school and when those events are taking place. A lot of excitement. Rumor has it the superintendent has already ordered his costume for Halloween when he visits the elementary schools. So no, I'm not going to tell anybody what it is. So we're very excited for that. And also what's great about the month of March is that you have the annual marching band festival at Mitchell Field, sponsored by Newsday. And of course, and you've heard me say before, we have a premier marching band program, obviously with our flag line and kick line. And so I'm very excited to once again see them later this month, October 23rd, Mitchell Field, our marching band in competition. We're facing another nice long holiday weekend as we mark both Columbus and Indigenous Peoples Day. And for those observing, also please have a reflective Yom Kippur. As always, we thank our PTA, our SEPTA, our Orba, our athletic boosters, our Rotary and Civics for all that they do for our students, staff, and community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now we have Board of Ed committee reports. The first one we have is the Emergency Management Committee. I will start with that one. So Jackson and I sit on that committee. There's a lot of sensitive information that gets held at that meeting. So all that I will say about it is that security monitors proactively addresses any concerns that we have so that they ensure the optimal security of our students and staff. It's really, I can't really share much from that meeting. Jess?
The only thing I'm going to add to it is a district-wide thank you to our security. Like I've said many times before, we have the best in the business, hands down. But what we can do around district to help is make sure that we keep our doors locked, make sure that we are not doing whatever with magnets, something that I had heard about. So first and foremost, please, I am really asking that everybody make a concerted effort to make sure every door is locked, and especially it's the number one way to keep our students safe and our staff.
Thank you. We have the Policy Committee, Ms. Inatelli, Ms. DiLorenzo.
Do you want to start, Jackie?
No, that's okay. You could start.
We had a policy committee meeting. We do not have anything on the agenda this week because we were unable to get through all of the new policies that New York State has mandated regulations on. They all have to do with Title IX, so you will most likely see them on our next agenda to be voted on. Just so the community does know, policy 0100 is back up again, even though we had voted on it, because New York State has changed verbiage inside the policy that has to be mandated, regulated, has to be voted on again. It is not the board who is asking for it to be voted on again. It is the state. I will say in the meeting, I did ask that since community members came up and spoke, and I've been contacted by many community members about the word all inside of there, that I asked that we could consider all, comma, including transgender and gender, I'm not even sure, right, children. So I did put that up. Again, we're not talking about it today. It will be discussed when the policies are on the agenda. Do you have anything else, Jackie?
Yeah, I'd like to add to that too. And yes, there was a lot to cover in that meeting. And I would like to address the fact that you wanted to change it from all to all, comma, I guess, what was it, transgender, however you wanted to word it. And I do want to emphasize the fact that all is something that many districts have done, because that's the way to really show fair, equitable, and inclusive treatment to every single student. I mean, we've known historically that separating any group, any one group, I mean, we learn this as young as, when we start social studies. segregation has never been successful. And it does not work. It's not fair. It's not equitable. It's not all inclusive. So it really only, when you do something like that, it kind of, it brings one group, I don't know what she's not better, but just up more than the rest of them. And I don't think that's a fair way to do that. You do that, then the next group says, well, what about us? And then you got to add them. And then what about us? And then before you know it, you have, 20-page thing just listing every single thing, which is why, by definition, all is all inclusive. I do want to comment to say that I do think that as a district, we should really be cautious about setting that kind of precedent with putting a group. I mean, look, if this was all, including straight children, I'd still say no. Just say all. Because you really don't want to highlight one group above another. We don't want to start that precedent. I have to go back to, and I understand Marisol was speaking for herself, but I completely agree with her when she said, I think it was at the September 10th meeting, when this was questioned by the one community member, because as far as I know, it's only actually been one person, the same person, for the last few meetings that's come up. And what Marisol had said was our purpose was to encompass all children and not to diminish the transgender. And I absolutely 100% echo what Marisol said. I completely agree with her. So when that does come up again, I know that policy is not on the agenda now. If it's changed and it's altered in any way from saying all, I'm an absolute no to that. If it remains all, then fine. But I'm not going to elevate one group above another. Not going to.
And I'm going to put in, I 100% agree with you. And the reason I have said this is we keep talking about equity, inclusivity. We've said this over and over. All equals everyone. The word all in itself is inclusive to all. To segregate one group or two groups or any group takes away from the word all being inclusive. If you look it up in the dictionary, it actually gives you the explanation as inclusive.
Much like the email I sent, I just want to be careful because the reason that this group was outlined, and like I said in an email I sent, and again, I said it at that first meeting when we voted, I was okay with the first language, but I was also okay with all. The reason that they're asking for specification is not to be put above, it's because they already feel below. So it is to actually rise to the level. And to the point, I mean, the precedent that we'd be setting, sure, if every single group that might be marginalized wanted to be on there, if it made the kids feel safe to have every single group listed on, nope, like, okay, I'll list them all to make them feel safe individually. Like, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be upset if that the precedent it set was that people who felt like they were not safe or not recognized or for whatever reason would eventually feel safe. But with that also, I just want to be careful saying it's one community member because it's only one that's made it to the meetings. That doesn't mean it's like.
Right, but we have 40,000 in this community.
Right, I find it hard to believe one is the only one who cares.
And if you think that, but there's not 40,000 that are showing up and discussing it. There's not 100 that are showing up and discussing it. There's not, we had an attorney who gave us legal guidance who stated at that meeting that, and I don't think it was you, Doug, it might have been the other guy. I think it was Anthony, but he was very clear that other districts have done it. Are we saying that other districts and ourselves are holding people down? This is not about oppression. This is not about holding anybody below anybody. All equals everyone. That's what it's supposed to be. It's people who have the mindset of what you're saying, and even saying that makes it as if any of us think that all doesn't include everyone. Equity across district equals everyone. We should be equal and inclusive of all. Not saying, because if we're saying that, I agree with Jackie, and then we should be saying, okay, what about this group? What about that group? Well, you know what? We left out that group. All means everyone.
I just think I don't think you guys think that way. That doesn't mean that there's not people who do put that community below them, right? So like the same way they're not all speaking for, like we look at it and we're just like, of course, include everybody. But there are people out there that very much. You mean
like when people say all lives matter and people say, well, that's a racist comment, and it's not? That's all lives matter. All is everyone. I mean, I guess it depends on the person hearing it and the person saying it. But in reality, I always have believed all lives across Long Island matter. Everyone matters. Every person. So if every person equals all, why would we start being segregating of which groups and select specific groups if especially if legal told us point blank that other districts have done all, why are we going to this, in my opinion, sounds more of like political. It doesn't sound to me like it's apolitical, and I have a problem with. I believe all lives matter, all students matter, all students should be included in equity across the board.
And I think we have to really be careful. We have to keep in mind
Guys,
that
we're discussing something that's not even on the agenda. Why don't we
excuse me.
discuss it next week when it matters?
Well, we
April, if you don't
absolutely
mind,
can discuss
I was
it.
speaking.
Board members are allowed to speak at meetings. We're not.
Melissa had her button on and you actually didn't let her. So that's why I just figured we'd say it.
Thank you. What I was actually trying to say is, as a district, we are up here as the Board of Education. We are the ones who set the policy. And I really think we need to be very careful about setting that kind of precedent where we are putting one group on there and leaving everyone else out. That is not inclusive. That is why all covers it. And the other thing, I don't know if you mentioned this before, that the lawyer said last time, is that it's actually, the sentence itself isn't even necessary. It was, I don't know what word he used, but it was something that we did, that we said, okay, we'll put this in here, but we have to make sure we cover all our students, and we cannot pick, like I said before, you could make it say all including straight, all including anything, any group of children, pick whichever one you want. None of them are equitable except all.
All I was going to say, and then we can go ahead and save it for the next one, is if I were somebody who wanted to come to this particular meeting and speak about this, I don't know I would feel comfortable, because there's a 90% chance tonight on social media somebody's going to say something about me wanting to put boys in girls' bathrooms, which I don't want to do just because I'm saying this. So I don't know that I would feel comfortable coming to this meeting to advocate. I'm anticipating that I'm going to get called a whole slew of names tonight that are all going to, and like these weird things that have nothing to do with it. So it's just, all I've been saying was being careful with our language. I thought it was an okay compromise to put all and then put including. Like I said from the start, I haven't wavered on how I felt. I was okay with the first language. I was okay with all. I just want something in place at this point. Like, you know what I mean? I know we had to change it because of the
It's
state.
in place. We voted on it already.
Right, but now it's back up, and I have a feeling that here thus begins kind of the back and forth that's going to happen. That's all. But I just want to be
seems
careful.
like one person brought it up who has friends on the board, and that is why this is even an issue. This doesn't need to be an issue again. It's only an issue because it's more about politics than it is about what's other districts have done, what's legally allowed. We're not leaving anyone out. What you're saying is the word all doesn't include everyone. And
That's not what I'm saying.
No, it is if you're saying you must put and including this people, this people, this people. What about they're all students? I don't want any student to ever feel that they should be segregated by their sexuality, their gender, their race, nothing. All students should be treated with respect. All students should be treated equally. I have thought this for many, many years. I have said this over and over. Don't feel bad. I'm sure tonight there'll be Mimi's and me. But unfortunately, I have very, very thick skin. I'm a lot older than you, and I have a very thick skin, and I've been doing this a long time, and trust me, I wouldn't even waste my time on social media. Do yourself a favor. If you put it on, people are going to write things, and they're going to say that, but this is a board meeting. We need to do what's right for the district, not worry about what people are going to write on social media if we do what's right. What's right is to make sure all are included. If you put including a certain amount of different specific people, from whether it's sexuality, gender, race, what you're doing is you are reverse racist. It is. It's actually
That's a matter
doing
of opinion.
Wait, so I'm just gonna say we're gonna save this to see what the state comes down with, and when the policy comes back on, and we'll have the discussion at that time. Thank you. Board of Ed topics. Desi Strong, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
Desi Strong, exceptional program that they run at the high school with. It's actually, I believe, ran at all of our schools. They do all sorts of Desi Strong, but I attended the high school volleyball excellent tournament for Desi Strong. Just gonna pull up what I have here. It's the program, every day is a great day, a day we can appreciate all the things that we get to do. Desi Strong was a man who was a teacher in Sachem. He coached here and helped here, and he has his family here. He was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer. He embodied that we get to outlook and realized how important it is to have a strong mind and strong body. It is an exceptional program that I got to witness and watch kids who really came together. You want to talk about all students coming together from all walks of life so that they could make posters, make banners, raise money. These kids raised over $3,800 at a tournament on one day. And I know the girls did it too. So you're talking about, this is what they did at the high school that I actually attended. It was an incredible program. Thank you to the Desi Foundation for always coming back to Connecticut and having our students get to do this. Our thoughts and prayers are with your family. And we really thank Matthew Desi Strong for all he did to bring this to Connecticut, to bring this to Sachem, and really to bring this across Long Island. We talk about positive mindset. This is an amazing program that truly touches hearts and lives of all students.
Thank you. Community wellness, Ms. DiLorenzo.
I know I'm bringing this up again. I've been talking about this for a long time because it is such a wonderful event. But I wanted to bring it up again because at our last meeting, I know that we had discussed the possibility of maybe alternating between the library and the high school. And I know, Jackie, everything that you always advocate for our students. And, as far as being such a tremendous advocate for security, you're also huge with mental health. So I know even when that discussion was happening and we were talking about that, I know exactly what was coming from. But I do have to say, I do believe that the library is the best place for it to be every year. The location is incredible, not only just because it's right here next to Central Office, it has that location right next to the district, but the road is such a main road. And the library being such a place that is offering information, that's what it's all about. This event is to offer information to people that may need it, whatever it might be, whether it's from sports or a mental health professional, whatever it is they might be. It is an event for that. So I am still advocating for it to remain at the library. And I know, Jackie, you advocate so much for literally everything. But I got to disagree with you on that. I do, because I think the library is just the best place for it. But I will say, I know we have something in May at the high school, and I'd be interested to see what else we could do with that to grow that, because why not use our high school? It's a beautiful building. Why not use our high school, and why not expand an event like that maybe to twice a year? Have it in both places. I mean, I'm all for it. I love it. Our planning committee is great. I love working with them. So I would absolutely love to advocate for that.
And I'm going to apologize because we can absolutely agree to disagree. But at the same time, I actually, in hindsight, understand I would never want to have the library think that I want to remove something that they have done so amazing with. I was only saying I would love to see the high school and the library do more together, whether it's this or other programs. For years, I have advocated not just for when it came to security or the police department. I used to say, we're paying $10,000 for assemblies. This was something me and April have agreed on, that we're paying so much for assemblies. Why not bring the people in that were free? And they started doing that, and I see the difference. You're bringing cops in to speak about things. You're bringing mental health people in to speak about things. This is the way to do it. That's all I was looking for. But at the same token, I would never want to disrespect the library that has been so good to myself, my children, all the programs they run for all children. It is an exceptional library. I love our public library. I've been going since I'm a kid. So I would never want to disrespect that. And if in any way, shape, or form, anybody felt that I was trying to take it from there, my apologies. I just would like to see something so wonderful also in the high school as well. So maybe, like you said, it's something to grow the one in the high school, but still do the big one at the library.
Thank you. So now we have Sequest, Ms. DiLorenzo.
Yes, I went to, thank you for the invite for this Sequest open house. I went to go see what was back, because I know it has changed over the years. Many years ago, it was something where the children would be picked up on by bus, and they would go to, I think was it Basti? It was Basti, right? And they, and so the program completely changed. Now, instead, the teacher actually has a schedule. I don't know how she keeps it straight. A great job to her, because she goes to visit all of schools. Some schools are there. She has a 4th grade group and a 5th grade group. Some schools it's combined. It really kind of depends on the school, maybe how many students. And it looks like it's really going to be a fantastic program. So I thank you for the invitation to go and see this. I also, one of the biggest things that I really liked about it is that she will work with the teachers to make sure the children don't miss their activities. Because I think that might have been something that maybe in the past, some kids might, they're little, they don't want to miss their pumpkin mold, whatever they might have. They don't want to miss these things, even though they were doing something great with Sequest. So I really, really like the fact that they're working around that schedule so that the children can still fully take part in whatever it is their class or their grade is doing. So I just wanted to say it looks great from my perspective.
Thank you. There's been a lot of planning, consideration, revamping, reconsideration this year, because we have a Singleton teacher this year doing the work. And I think all of that thoughtfulness is certainly playing into an enriching experience for all of the kids in the program. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Great job.
Thank you. District website, Ms. DiLorenzo.
I know we always talk about the website because we've all had, thoughts about making it a little more user-friendly, which I know we're going to be changing it at some point. But I did, when I was looking through, things, especially on the athletic side, because now that I've a high schooler who's on sports, and some things that I thought, update, like the coach list. It's from last year. I think it would be nice to have things like that updated. And the other things, which I believe we got an email from a parent a while back about having the actual scores, an update on our website of the scores, so people know the standings. And I know that stuff is on the Section 11 website. I'm like a technology person, and I'm not too crazy about navigating that website. I don't know, I can't seem to find things on there. I think it would be nice if we could somehow incorporate that information a little bit more upfront. But one thing I did notice that I thought was really great that I wanted to highlight in case parents didn't know this is that we do have a YouTube channel for just Connecticut Athletics. You put that in, you can subscribe to it. And the athletic games in the main gym are live streamed. So that I think is fantastic that we do have that going. But maybe just some other things to just bring that up front. Our kids work so hard, and it would be nice to just share that information a little bit more out there on the website for the parents to see.
So I agree. And I think at the last meeting, we had discussed putting the coaches on the athletic tab on the website.
So the coaches, there is a coaches list that reflects updated coaching staff for the high school. And I believe as you scroll down, you can see some of the older coaches lists.
Yeah,
that
middle school ones
you're
for this year are
referring
not
to.
on there.
They're not.
Just the high school ones for the fall.
For the fall,
Are on
right. So
there.
we
Yeah.
can certainly have that added. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And I guess the one section there with the O and the I was if they are a teacher or if they're
Correct.
the difference between, okay.
Correct. So there's a column that is titled in or out of district, and that's the indication to say whether the coach is a teacher in district, right? So they would be reachable via, in most cases, that first initial, last name at CCSDLI. And for those individuals who are out of district, you may access them in a different way, and maybe that would come, through the coaching staff in terms of that level of communication. Of course, should there be any concerns in that direction, Mr. Mallory's office can also certainly point people in the appropriate direction. Mr. Mallory does keep up with a very active X or Twitter account that is linked to the website, but it is a second step. It used to be a direct feed into our website, and unfortunately, Twitter or X changed their permissions. And so we're no longer able to almost live stream those tweets, if you will. So there was a time when you could consult the website and see the most up-to-date information for a match that was going on, because he was actively being omnipresent and providing that information. But now it does take an extra step to log in. So I certainly can understand, that level of wanting to know and having that kind of immediate contact with the particular competition or match that you're looking for information about.
Ms. Poppy, correct? I'm not sure if this is a true statement, but is there a link that you can click on that will take you to the Section 11 site, and it will link you right to the? Okay,
There is, yes.
thank you. Okay.
One other thing just about the website. It would be great if we could update some of the hiring too on there, because somebody had reached out and said something about that. And then I had seen it also through social media sites, and I was giving them information about just like contractually, like what for like TAs, like we need a lot of TAs. We need the special education needs. We need the part-time, we need bus drivers. We need part-time lunch ladies, lunch people, whatever the case may be. It would be great if we could post that and also put with it some of the information, just so that because people already reaching out saying, Jackie, what's the starting salary? What's this? What's that? Da, da, da. Like other districts have it where it says like $19 or, contractually 20. I don't know what ours does. I've tried to navigate the district website, but I have
Okay.
challenges technically to
Let
begin with.
me look at it tomorrow, and we'll update it as we need with our updated jobs.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you. We now have financial success, Ms. Napolitano-Furno.
I went to St. John's the other night that was holding for Connect Quad. Connect Quad people, community members were holding a How Money Works, a prior board member who is such a great person in our community, Ray Carter. He had brought forward something that I think is exceptional for the kids and wanted us to see it. So I went, I observed, I thought it was incredible. I learned a lot. At 46 years old, I said, oh my God, the kids could learn so much. I even think this would be great for parents one night. It's How Money Works, a common sense guide to financial success. It was a free, like 25-minute, 30-minute, I want to say like not assembly, but a presentation. That's the word I'm looking for. And it was great. How you can get out of debt, how you can build your savings, how you can get on the path to financial independence. I thought this might be a great presentation to bring even to our business classes possibly, or if I give Mrs. Poppy the information, maybe there's somewhere we can bring this in, because I have to tell you, I think it could be helpful to all students, starting even in like the secondary levels, just like, a lot of these things, change your thinking, pay yourself first, avoid the credit trap. Just, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. The 3 accounts you need, the emergency fund, the short-term savings, long-term savings and investments. It was just such a good, so informative. It was so on par. And I have to tell you that the people that were there with me all said the same thing. We walked out of there saying, wow, we learned so much. And, we've been doing this for all our lives, trying to do this, and we learned something from it. How great would it be to bring something like this in? I know we've had presentations before with business classes or with the financial classes. I just thought this was a nice one, and the man was very nice. He said that he has no problem coming in, Vincent, and doing it. Just have someone reach out to him.
We will certainly take the information and follow up. Thank you.
Senior survey letter, Ms. Napolitano-Furno.
So last year, I had parents reach out to me and I advocated for a senior survey that never happened. This year, what I would like to do is go a step further. If we cannot do a survey, then maybe what we can do is a letter. I would love to see every senior be given a paper from the Board of Ed with an envelope. And we have a budget line ourselves. I would love to get board support in that every senior should have the opportunity. They don't have to, it's totally optional if they choose to do it, to write a letter to the board, anonymously, the last month of school, and let us know what we need to look at for the underclassmen. What do we, as upperclassmen, what have you guys gone through? What have you guys seen? What would you like to see fixed? Hey, maybe you want to see us fixed, whatever it is. I want to hear the kids. We are the voices of the children and the community members and parents. We should hear right from them. We hear here, we hear there. We hear kids don't want to say something because they're worried about, any kind of flashback at them. I would just like to hear from them. I don't need to know who it's from. I just want to know from them, what would you like to see different? And it could be about sports. It could be about, clubs. It could be about classes. It could be about what what you're seeing up here that we're discussing as board members, what you want to see us discuss. It could be about, what we could bring in, what initiatives you think would be helpful. Whatever you feel has gone on in your, years of schooling, I would just love to hear from the kids themselves. And I do feel like the ones that are leaving have the most to offer, being that they've already been through all the grades and they're leaving the school so they don't feel like, hey, if someone gets this letter. And by the way, when I say something would be anonymous, I have never, ever given up anything someone has told me as a student or where it's come from. I want to just read it from them. You want to write about one of us? Be my guest. I whatever it is, I want to read it and I want to hear it from the kids. What can we do for this district from a child's point of view, from a young adult's point of view, to make it better?
I think that's actually a really good idea because we are here to represent the parents, the kids especially. That's what that's what everybody is here for. We're all here for the kids, but we were elected to represent them. And I actually think that's a fantastic idea to keep it, especially keeping it anonymous, so they could feel, write whatever you want, a club, sports, or like you said, you want to write about us, go for it. We want to know because that's what we're here for. We're here to make every single student's experience the best it can possibly be and to help them on the path of the most success. So I think that's actually a fantastic idea to do that. I would support that.
I would like to say to the community, the students, everyone, that I hope that they wouldn't wait till their senior year or their ending of the school to reach out to us. I would hope that any student, if you see something that's a positive, you see something that's a negative, that you feel comfortable enough to reach out. Doesn't matter if it's a letter that's anonymous or if you email us, contact us in any way. I hope that everybody feels comfortable enough to let us know now in the moment if something's going on that they would like us to address. Again, positive or negative.
I would 100% support the initiative of hearing from the seniors, the students, anonymously. We could provide the envelopes. They could be inter-office, the central office. We can get them to us somehow. I would definitely support that initiative. I think that's great.
I think that to April's point, I agree with you that people should reach out and they should feel like they can reach out to us at any time. But I also think that we have to be honest, and there are a lot of people who are afraid to come forward because they're afraid. I mean, this, like how many times people have reached out to me and been like, oh no, Jackie, you can't give my name up. You can't give, and I mean, I've never had, but that's something that people need to realize. There is a fear, even if there's no reason for it, let's say, but it's something people perceive. And for that, I want to see, I love the idea of a survey. I would just love the idea of hearing from the students one way or another without them feeling like they had to put their name to it. Even though we're not big on anonymous things, this would be one of those times where I would say you give each student one envelope, one paper, even if you numbered them, but you didn't number them with, if you numbered them, but you didn't do anything with the numbers. So that you knew if you got 3 number ones, well, where'd the other 2, like that's what I'm saying. Then there are ways to do it with it still being anonymous and yet there's a way for us to track that they're the ones we gave out.
So I'm hearing two things, and I really want to be careful and make sure that we differentiate. This sounds like a board initiative. I know we only heard from, well, maybe 4 board members, and I understand that the board may want to put this in place and play this year in terms of some feedback from our seniors who will be graduating. I think feedback in general is always a good thing. I think a big thing will be the structure and how it's worded. I caution that we're blurring the lines between getting feedback from our seniors with the potential concern, maybe the potential cultural issue in Connecticut, where people feel like they can't go through the chain of command. Chain of command, what does that mean? I've referenced it a couple times in my tenure here. Classroom teacher, a coach, a club activity advisor, that initial level of potential concern. And then where do you go from there? Well, then you start going into your administrative level. It could be a department director, could be a building assistant principal, certainly a building principal. Where do you go from there? Well, then you got up to central office where I have my cabinet. Ms. Poppy directly oversees the principals of things at the building level, Mr. Khalifa certainly as well. And then you have your superintendent of schools. One of the things that I've been learning in my year plus, getting close to a year and a half, is that sometimes there's this lack of comfort with going through that chain of command. And so if that's a real thing, it certainly is a perception out there, and I recognize it. I want to be very clear that one of my goals with our district is to change that together. I want everyone, students, families alike, to feel comfortable speaking with a teacher, speaking with a coach, speaking with an advisor, then speaking at the department building level, then taking it to the central office level, and then finally taking it to the board level. Certainly certain situations may require a quick A to Z. I understand it can be those extreme situations, but I just don't want to blur the two. So again, I'm going to encourage everyone, the 40,000 strong, 5,300 students strong, to, reach out at that local level, which is, again, teacher, coach, advisor, and then work up that chain of command with concerns. Let's talk about them early so we could address them, all right? In terms of the board wanting to have an initiative to get feedback from seniors, I know there are some school districts that do that. It could be a wonderful idea. It's all about the structure. And then anytime you collect data, and feedback like this is a form of data, there becomes another expectation. What are you going to do with that data? It's anonymous, which is fine. You're going to get some beautiful things which are going to make people proud. You're going to get some things that are going to make you shake your head, probably bring some tears to your eyes. And then what do we do with that? How does that inform our decision making? And then what are our reactions to that? So this is, if this is a board initiative, I will help in any way I can see it through, but there will need to be a certain structure and process to it. All right?
Well,
Thank you.
see, here's the thing. Last year, I asked for the senior survey that parents requested, and we did nothing with it. So this one, I'm going to keep hammering home for every board meeting till we do it, because we should have done some sort of survey last year. If we're talking about, and I'm just going back to this, if we're talking about worrying about changing verbiage on a policy we already voted on, and that's from one person coming and speaking. I've had several people reach out, and we already know this, about a senior survey. It isn't something that it is done, like you said, in other districts. And their data, what I was told from other board members from other districts, they use that data going forward to professional development. Where do we need to spend our money for professional development? Maybe we need to move the money here where we're doing really well over here. Maybe we need to have, retreats. Maybe we need to have this. Maybe we need to have that. But whatever it is, we need to know where the holes are. We need to know where the problem areas are. We need to know where do we have to focus? Because like you've said to me once, the board is looking down at 30,000 feet from the sky on what's going on in a school district. But we don't know what's going on. And I feel like with the seniors, isn't that the best place to go to get, they've matured, maybe they've already used self-reflection and said, you know what? Well, this wasn't a good thing that happened to me, and I'm just using a grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. You know what? When I got to 11th grade, I kind of understood why that happened. And I look back and maybe I could have done something different too. I feel like there is a different maturity at the senior level where you also may not get as negative as you think you're going to get. You may get a lot more positive. But at the same time, if you're asking them, hey, where did you feel things needed to be a little bit more? You might get a lot of good feedback. I've heard it from other districts, and I would like to give, our seniors that kind of level of respect to say, hey, I want to see this. And if it works this year, it should be something that you guys continue every year, even when this board is gone.
I was just waiting for everyone to finish. I'm here for it. The only thing I'm going to say is I wouldn't be until we had like a really locked, airtight system in place for how this is going to happen, because we'll have one shot to blow it on like an anonymity thing, and like the whole thing is done. So the way I'm thinking of the layers to that, it might not, this way of doing it, I don't know about a survey, might not happen like this year. I think we have to do like a really good amount of planning if we want to make this a potentially long-term initiative. But I think also like kind of like before we were talking about being careful with what making sure our expectation from anybody is clear on what comes on the other end of this letter, right? Like not setting a precedent that says like, okay, if you wrote this in your senior letter, then like the next board meeting it'll be addressed. We just need to make sure it's like everybody knows exactly this is really like a feedback mechanism. It's not necessarily an action plan, and making sure that we have a surefire way that if we're going to say it's anonymous, it needs to stay that way, or else we'll never get it off the ground. But like, as long as we have it all outlined, I think it's great. I'm all for feedback. I love it.
So that was my understanding of this initiative also. It wasn't like, oh, Mrs. So-and-so gives so much math homework, I wish she would give less math homework. I don't think that was what I had in mind when you spoke about it. It was like, oh, we did this in business and I think it's great. I think we can enhance it by providing this, or I think that the language program could really benefit from bringing this initiative in, or I think the language program is great. Like whatever it is that you see in a whole within the school, not, oh, I wish I would get less Spanish homework, like not that. That's not what I was thinking. And as far as the anonymity, like I was thinking in my mind, in my brain, this is how I saw it, as simple as you give all the seniors a piece of paper, they write, they seal it up in an envelope, goes in a box, and security could bring it to central office for the board when we have our next exec.
I was just thinking
that's how I was
mitigating
thinking.
for somebody doing 7 letters and slipping it in the box. Because like I know what you were saying with the letter system. Why is there 3 number ones?
Right.
But that's why, like, what we've done in the past, when I've done anonymous, when we've done things like this at my job or something we put numbers on them, but the numbers don't go to anything. They just go to, it's like an envelope, no number on the outer envelope. The inside has a piece of paper with the actual, heading or whatever we're asking. Like saying, hey, guy, like it should be something written from the board. You do it like a piece of paper, and attached to that paper, like us wishing them well and asking them if they'd like to, participate. It's totally up to them. They don't have to. You can throw it in the garbage if they feel like it. It's really up to them. If they feel there's something that's worthy enough for us to use for the future to help those that are coming behind them, I think that's a great thing. It's a good tool, but you just have to do it in a way that they don't feel like that you're going against the anonymous, being anonymous or not. It has to be anonymous this is the envelope on the outside has nothing on it. It's sealed. Every kid gets a sealed envelope. They take it home. They do what they want with it. Inside has a number on it. And that number is really just for us to say, hey, we gave out 448 letters. We got back, 120 of them, and their numbers like 118, 200, 180. But we know we didn't get 18 number ones and 18 number two, you know what I mean? That's the way to say, and again, could they go home and mom and dad write it? Hey, yeah, maybe, but that's my whole thing is I'm okay with, I want to hear from the students. I want to hear from the parents. I have no issue. I want to know, we are supposed to be their voices. How can you be their voices if you really don't know from a 30,000 view above what's going on and what they've been through. Some kids might be able to say, like you said, hey, I took this class and I never take it again because, it didn't help me the way I thought it was going to. Maybe you need more of this. Maybe you need, like the kids who've said we need tutoring. Maybe you need more tutoring in this kind of class. I would take this class over that class, like things that we can work on, especially, and if they do talk about people, and like I said, it should be more about professional development. Where do we need to add that? Where do we need to move it? Because I'm sure, listen, we're not perfect. The board needs professional development. I'm going in 2 weeks for it. Everybody could use professional development to some degree.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Okay. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve the financial matters items 2 through 6?
Motion. Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, I noticed on the, once again, I know we had this back in, I think it was August 27th meeting. The claims auditor report.
Which, number 4?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, number 4. Yes, the claims auditor reports. And I know we had, let me bring it up here. This had happened, and I know that the meeting where I mentioned it was August 27th, which is after the dates that are on here. But I do see, again, there's things where there were voided checks and purchase orders after the invoice date. So I'm hoping on next one, we'll see maybe nothing on there that we have everything just a little bit more buttoned up on there, because I noticed that this was on here. There were like 5 items.
August 2024.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve the instructional and non-instructional personnel items as presented?
Motion. Second.
Any questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 11 of the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
Questions on any numbers?
Yeah, number 9.
Yep.
Oh, I was just about to,
And then I'll have one.
Yep, I think we all had number 9. Mr. Hauser, would you help us with number 9? That is the
Resolution
regarding the transfer to the reserve funds.
Sure. So back at the June meeting, we had the board approve a resolution, which I'll call it a best guess resolution, because the books had not been closed for the school year as of that meeting. But we asked the board to approve an up to amount that can be transferred into each of the reserves based on the results of the audit. So this past week, we had a conversation with the auditor, the managing partner, Jill Sanders, who's been with the district for a number of years, going over and reviewing the results of the 2023-24 school year. And for the most part, to stay compliant with what's called this 4%, the unappropriated fund balance, which is really just accumulated, I'll say, surpluses year after year with the district. We're down to about $1.8 million, just over $1.8 million was the actual surplus amount for operating the district. And the auditor is recommending, okay, with the board's approval here, that at the bottom of that resolution, if you follow it down about 2/3 of the way down the page, you see there's a line TRS Retirement Contribution Reserve Subfund, $738,586.01. And then the line right below it, Employee Retirement Contribution Reserve, $1.1 million. So that is where the auditor is recommending that we transfer the surplus funds back to those 2 reserves instead of where we had originally requested back in June. So we're just isolating the reserve. The surplus is not as much as we have been having in prior years, so we're just keeping it down to two reserves now.
And by transferring to these 2 reserves, does that affect the taxpayers at all?
I don't want to. That's a tough question to ask. Does it affect the taxpayers at all? We certainly have the option. Okay, the board has the option at any point to take surplus monies and I'll say refund them or return them back to the taxpayers. We typically don't do that any more than we have already allocated. Like example, for the current school year, we're appropriating about $5 million in our unappropriated fund balance. If we were to allocate or return more monies to the taxpayers, that might not be the most prudent decision going forward here. You know, we're trying to have budgets that are sustainable year after year and not have these ups and downs.
You know, Mr. House, let me just interject because these conversations, we get into a lot of detail during the budget development process. And one of the things that we have to do as a school district is we have to guesstimate the tax rate, and we don't find out really from, in our case, Town of Islip, that until September, October. One of the things that we talk about during the budget development process, and we may want to have this conversation sooner than later now, and I believe at the next board meeting, the auditor is here to officially present the closing of the books.
Correct.
Okay. I think it'd be helpful if even if there's only one visual, if we see the recent history, let's say 5 years, whatever. I would go back at least a year before COVID, the pandemic, to look at I'm going to use the layperson's term, savings account. You have the reserves and you have the fund balance. It's the savings account. And so where has the savings account of the district gone during that cycle, 5, 6 years, whatever it may be? You're going to see a downward trend. All right. And so that's something that, in terms of our fiscal oversight, that's one of our primary responsibilities. It's a shared responsibility that we have as a cabinet with our Board of Education. We have to carefully monitor because we do allocate into the budget. We reallocate the savings. So that's the impact on the taxpayer, that we're taking money that we came back and we're then putting it back in because we're saying our expenditures are here, but our other revenue sources are here. But don't worry, we're going to balance this budget, which we're required to do by law, by allocating money out of the savings account. The goal then, when the books close the following year, is to hopefully recoup that money and you keep having this cycle. We got money back, we put it in. Hey, it's okay, we got it back, we put it in. What you have to be careful of is a trend that is continuous downward cycle. And this is not Connecticut alone. This is New York State. This is Long Island. Okay. And I think at least as part of this, with the closing of the books, to have at least one visual, and it's a good precursor, even though we'll have a little lull, the holidays, as we go into the budget development process, which this year is going to be very interesting. I'm just going to use the word interesting right now, because I don't have the crystal ball. You've heard me speak in the past, a little worried about what they're going to do, meaning the state with the foundation aid formula and how that's going to impact districts like Connecticut on top of all the other mandates that are big money mandates like electric buses. I know I keep harping on that, but it does have a fiscal reality. So these are very good questions. And so they do tie into the setting of the tax rate, which is, I think, the next item. In terms of, we did a best guess assessment of what the impact on the average taxpayer would be in intervals of $10,000, 10, 20, 30 of your assessed valuation, which is not the same thing as I put my home on the market, I get $700,000. It's different. It's confusing. All these terms get confusing. Tax rate, tax levy. So I'm going to put you on the spot. If you need a lifeline, Miss Poppy's right next to you. Okay. Can you just explain what we have to do now as a district with the tax rate now that the town of Islip has made us aware of what the actual assessed valuation is? Ready, Mr. Hauser, go.
All right. So the town, I'll say starting in May, the town allows residents, homeowner, people who own homes, also businesses that have their own buildings, to grieve their taxes. Okay, there's an open window period where people can question their assessed valuation on their homes. Once that window closes and the town entertains those grievances and they decide who's entitled to a lower assessed value or not, they issue the final assessment roll. Okay, they determine the value of all the homes and all the businesses in the community. We don't know what that number is going to be when we do the budget presentations to the community in March, in April, and even up through May, when we actually have the budget vote. We only find out what that number is at the end of September. So we really have to present what we think is the best guess, I'll say, what the tax rate's going to be when the community votes in May. So now that we know what that number is, the town has advised us that the actual total assessed valuation in the Connecticut School District has gone down. A little more than about $2.5 million it went down. This is assessed value, not fair market value of homes and all. So when that tax rate, when the assessed value goes down, okay, the amount of money that the school district needs to collect from the community, for the most part, stays the same. It causes the tax rate, okay, that fractional calculation, it causes that tax rate to go up, okay? When all the assessed values, hypothetically, if they were to increase, all right, the amount of money the school district has to collect from the community gets spread amongst an even higher assessed value. Here, this year, it's getting spread amongst a lower assessed value. So it's going to cause, I'll say on average, the tax rate in the school district to go up a little bit, about 0.1%.
Will we run a structural deficit with this? It was something I had asked, I don't know if you remember, about a month ago, I asked, I believe it was a month ago, no, actually August 27th, I had sent those questions that I had, all the long list of questions, where I had said to get a baseline and see what projections we have for the expenditures this year. I also wanted to know that some districts start the budget process in October, early October, and that's early. And then some in January, and you had said that we start normally at the end of the year. Is there some way that maybe starting sooner after, would we be able to get a better baseline? Will we be able to see into the future a little bit better what the expenditures are going to look like versus what we're going to have to put in fund? Because if this happens again next year, won't we be running at a deficit?
So I just want to be careful with that word deficit, and especially when we say structural deficit. I mean, our budget and most school budgets, for the most part, the amount of money we spend is more money than we, in a sense, collect from the taxpayers. And so we have different levels of income funding that come in. We're never, in this district, in my knowledge, has never been in a deficit position where we spend more money than the total amount of money we take in. We're not ever close to that situation. But certainly as we go into this interesting future with state aid and all, we have to be very careful that we have enough revenue coming in, whether it be from the reserves, whether it be from state aid or other smaller sources, to support the spending. So certainly we could look earlier at what the spending looks like now for next year. I feel it's a little too early. I mean, certain expenditures we know what salaries, contractual raises are going to be and all for next year, but it's really the revenue piece of it that we don't know. And we're not going to know that probably till February, March.
Well, that's why I'm saying, is there something we can do proactively rather than reactively when it gets closer? Because it seems like, from what I'm hearing from government officials in our neighborhood and in our community, that it's not going to be a better year. It sounds like we may have more issues depending.
Yeah. And, just like we had last year, when you don't know what the revenue situation is going to be, it's difficult to really make those final decisions, that some of those tough decisions that might have to be made. So I think entertaining the budget too early might give some I'll say, false information that may not be
Yeah,
true.
Also, we do start, while we don't start the budget workshops until February here with the board and the public, we do start the budget process, what is it, November?
Yep.
Yeah, and also there is something significant that's coming up. Health insurance, that it's not, the health insurance rates are not based on a school calendar, a July 1 to June 30th calendar. The health insurance is based on a traditional calendar, January 1. And so pretty soon we're going to find out, and that's part of the budget process, but you have to guess. You have to guess for the second half year of cost. All right, and that's one of the challenges. So we're going to have a pretty good indicator pretty soon when they tell us what the rate is for the second half of this year, which obviously impacts the first half of the next budget, and that sets the tone where we guesstimate that second half, if you were following me.
Yeah, so I agree with you that, Jackie, that we could look at it earlier, and I think we will spend a little more attention earlier on than we did in prior years, only because of the questionable revenue that we might be up against.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to thank the cabinet for number 7. We are getting a grant writer, which I'm very excited about for our district. So I want to thank everybody for staying on top of that and making this happen. So thanks, everyone.
I had a question about on number 8, the consultant services agreement, Balanced Educational Services. Just a quick question, because I know that the contract states that the compensation is in accordance with the fee schedule set in Addendum A, and unless I'm missing it, I don't have that information. Like, how much is that? I just wanted to know how much it's cost, because I didn't see anything on here with any kind of pay schedule.
Mrs. DiLorenzo, do you see? I'm not looking at the same thing. So there's an appendix noted, but it's not visible here.
Unless I'm missing it, but I couldn't find it on here.
We can go back to student services and request more information. I certainly don't have it. And Mrs. Incerillo doesn't have it. She's just double checking her email.
Is this something that's so time sensitive? Rather than wait to have the thank you. I would rather than wait to have the financial information, but I don't know if it's super time sensitive with 3 weeks before the
That's the
next.
thing, I don't know if we can table this till we have that, just
Right.
so we have all the information, or if it's gotta be done now, we have that.
Actually, I think it is time sensitive because the workshops are this month.
I think you're right.
It says effective October 7th, which is today.
Right, I think the workshops are next week,
Yeah,
right?
they are.
The workshop, okay, so we have nothing to go by with that.
I don't have any information.
All right, so what I'm going to ask is for some goodwill and ask that the board approve it and that we will send this out first thing in the morning to the board.
Can you get us a copy of the actual workshop? What's going to be presented to grades 1 to 9?
Sure, absolutely.
And for me, I'd like a paper copy if possible.
Absolutely.
Do you have like a guess at what it might?
Well, I was just gonna say, if we pulled it and waited till the next board meeting to approve it, we can retroactively pay them for the time if it doesn't get approved. Right?
Mr. Kohler-Hepar is just attempting to get in touch with our Director of Student Services, and maybe we can get a faster answer.
Because if we approve it, we're bound to the contract.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I don't feel
Right?
I'm
Yeah.
looking like, maybe you gave it to me in the papers, because I thought
I just
read
went through my
something.
papers. I didn't get it in mine.
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
did you guys get paper copies?
Yes. we did,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't know.
But, yes.
No, I have it right here. I have it
No,
right.
I have that. Look through it. It's not, there's no pay schedule on there.
Oh, the papers, okay, no, I was looking more for the curriculum. Yeah.
I don't know if it's helpful, but there's an agenda from January, that same place for 2 customized workshops, including all travel expenses. It was $3,850. Same place, Balance Educational.
So I have some information
Okay.
from Mrs. Pisani. Our Director of Student Services is indicating that this is for 21 distinct assemblies for grades 1 through 9, cost at $700 per assembly, for a grand total of $14,700.
What does the assembly consist of?
I believe it's anti-bullying.
Yeah, it looks like bully prevention.
It's bullying prevention, correct?
I just would like to point out that Jack's, like she just said, we can get a lot of this for free. We have to really start going that route, like to constantly pay people to do this. I mean, we know I'm not on board, Jack's on board. I think the whole, like, we're trying to save money here, not keep on spending it. And the fact that some of our, units think that this is always the avenue to go, we really have to get out of that culture of thinking. We really have to start remembering we can get this for free.
And why grades 1 through 9? What happened to 10 through 12? They don't need to have anti-bullying workshops? There's no bullies in 10 through 12?
Pull this first ever vote.
Yeah, I personally would not, I feel comfortable voting when I have the curriculum to look at. I tend to things like this, when something's for free and you say to me, they're gonna do a presentation and we can go to some of them to see them, it's nice. When it's something that's this expensive, I like to at least have something tangible to read and look through to say, is this something that is going to be a quality program for students to learn from? And like April's saying, is it something that we can get through another avenue at a lesser price or for free?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. An anti-bullying assembly feels lazy at this point. It's been like how many decades of an assembly to be like, stop bullying each other just to like say that bullying is a continual problem. I mean, for that price, at that price point, for it to be an assembly, it seems like a lot.
And Ms. Pisani brought up in the anti-bullying club last year that she had went to several of these presentations and the guy was willing to come for free. So I would like to see, if there's other people who could come for free. So again, I'd like a separate vote on this one.
Does she want a table?
Well, what
No, I don't want to.
I was going to suggest,
I'm a no.
For tabling it so we get information.
I'd like to vote. Well, we can vote to not vote on it. That's fine.
We can vote to not vote. We can vote to table.
well, what I was going to say is that because of the concerns raised, that I think we're going to need to postpone, because once these assemblies take place, we're going to have to pay. So we need to postpone these assemblies now so they do not occur next week, get more information for the board, and then take a vote. And then if the vote passes, reschedule. The vote does not pass, come up with alternatives.
Listen, I think that it's not so much that $14,000, if the program is something that you will see results, and the program is something that we can buy into and read it and see that this is something beneficial for students, even if they would have piloted one and said, hey, you guys want to come, we're going to do an assembly. We've done that in the past where you guys have had an assembly, a piloted one for whatever grade it was going to be, and we came to it. And then we made the distinction if we were going to, and the decision to either go throughout the district or if we were gonna zone in on one age group. That might be a way to look into it too. I'm just saying at $14,000 for anti-bullying, do I think we have a bullying problem at Connecticut? Yes. Do I think that we should address it? Absolutely. Do I think that we should make sure that this is the way to go with it? Yes, before we spend taxpayer money like that.
Jackie D, I want to thank you because I did miss this. So thank you for pointing it out.
Yeah, good job. Thank you. So I'm going to call for another motion. Can I have a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 7, 9 through 11?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion?
Oh, I wanted to, if, now that we approved it, can I
Yes.
just show something? Because we
Oh, I love
approved,
this. Oh my God,
part
I
of
love
our
this.
agenda was from the Connecticut Public Library. I just want to show this. This is a little potato. He's a positive potato. And this is actually an event that the library is hosting for the Great Give Back in October. It's actually 3 Thursdays in a row, October 10th, 17th, 24th. No registration required, and you can, the blurb is you spread a little positivity while crocheting this cute potato with a message. Amy Saccio, who is a Connecticut grad, will show you how. Please bring a size F and G crochet hook. You can look at our newsletter to see it. And we are now going to be we just approved it to donate these to our libraries for our children to take. And they are absolutely adorable. This little guy actually says, I may be a tiny potato, but I believe in you. Go do your thing. And I think it's so perfect, and he's adorable. I'm going to leave him right over here.
I want you to know that I
So
have
cute.
a little one. We have the little one. Dr. C, I think you were there. I have the little one in my car right now. It's like very tiny. It was from Mrs. Pisani. Mrs. Pisani had a gentleman come in, and we each got one in the classroom at the high school for one of the, do you remember for one of the programs?
I have it in my Amazon card right now.
Oh, no, but
that's
she gives them out. No, but she gave them out for free. The man came to one of the, I want to say it was one of the ones that I went for you. It was actually your committee. And I said, do I get to keep this or do I have to give it to Marisol? And she said, you can keep it. It's a tiny potato. I have it in my car.
Very nice. Thank you.
It's adorable. Yeah.
Can I have a motion and a second to table consent agenda item number 8?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Does anybody want to speak for the public comment before I say this all again? No. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.